For those of you that don't know me, my name is Josh Withers. This is a podcast about weddings, and joining me today is Renee from Tobi Tobi. G'day, Renee.
Hi, how you going?
I'm great. It's a summer day in Tasmania, which means it's currently a very warm 13.5 degrees Celsius. I'm having a good
Great.
day.
You look like it's warm in there, though. You look like comfortable and
I've
good
got the fire
in your
on.
t-shirt.
Just a regular summer day in Tasmania. I've got the fire on, the heater on.
Right. My mum's in Tasmania and she's always going, I think the weather's actually better in Tasmania. Like, I think we actually have a lot better. And I'm like, yeah, but I'm pretty sure everyone I know from there says it's cold. It's very cold.
Yeah.
a lot.
But that's the thing. The reason we moved here is because I love the cold, and I like my wedding work takes me around the world or around Australia, so I don't really have a specific like here's where I work. So if I'm
Yeah.
always going to be flying somewhere, we thought, well, why not live somewhere that's awesome, and then I can
Yeah.
fly to where I'm going to work. And so
Yeah.
we've always loved Tassie. We honeymooned here in 2012 and fell in love, and
Ugh.
we came back, and we love it here. I've got my little 2 acres in the Huon Valley. It's absolute
Oh, that's
paradise.
amazing. Oh my God.
Yeah.
Tasmania is beautiful. To me, it's like a mini New Zealand. It's like
It is, yeah.
breathtaking. People are more chilled, and it's like, oh, how lovely. That's great.
It's like if someone actually made New Zealand great again, it's Tassie.
No, New Zealand's great. Have you been to New Zealand much?
Yeah. I go there 2 or 3 times a year for weddings and elopements. And
Do you really? Oh my gosh,
Yeah.
how lucky. I love New Zealand so much. I just think the people are like the warmest, most loving, kind people. You just want to cuddle them all. I remember I sang at a wedding there, and I was singing away, and a few Maoris came up and they were like, "Oh, this sounds so good. This sounds so good, bro." And I was like, I bet you sing like 5 times better than me, but like this is so lovely. Like that just goes to show their personalities. Like they just want everyone to have a go, and like they're just so soulful and nice. But anyway, we won't give them too much props. Tassie's the best. Tassie's the best.
I will give New Zealand a little bit of props because I was there for a wedding a few weeks ago, and anyone that's been to Queenstown, we haven't prepped this, but I'm going to guess you can answer correctly. But when you go to Queenstown, you got to have which burger?
No, I don't know. Damn it.
Ferg burger. You got to have a Ferg burger.
Oh,
Anyway,
right.
that
Okay.
goes-
Well, now I do know, and I will get that.
Okay. Well, here's the thing, though. When you go to Ferg Burger, the line is down the street. It's silly. It's stupid. It's actually not fun anymore. It used to be fun. The burgers are still great. It's just not fun lining up forever.
Right.
But I was saying in Arrowtown, this is just a tip for anyone listening who is going to Queenstown soon. In Arrowtown is the butcher that supplies Ferg Burger, which is called Ferg Butcher. You can actually get burgers from the butcher. And in my opinion, I don't know whether it's just because you don't have to wait that they taste better, but I think they just taste better.
Right. Oh, well,
I'm
that's
still
good.
thinking about the bacon and egg roll I got there a couple of weeks ago. It was beautiful.
Oh, that's great. Oh, how nice to be traveling so much, especially
it's
to
good, it's good.
places like New Zealand that are not too far, where you're not like, oh my God. Are you taking the kids with you when you're traveling?
Yeah, sometimes we took them to Europe this last European summer, and Luna, my eldest, she said to us on the way home, she goes, "I don't think I'll do Europe next year." I'm like, oh, thanks, bub. Thanks. I'll take that to management and let them know that my 7-year-old doesn't think she'll do Europe next year.
Oh my God, who would she stay with, your parents or something, if she was to stay back?
Yeah. So this coming summer, I'll go by myself to Europe. I'll do June, July in Europe for weddings and elopements, and then as a family, we might go back the next year. So yeah, we usually they come, but not all the time.
Right. Yeah, that's the same. That's the same with us. Like all our Europe trips, we've taken the kids. No, sorry, we did one trip for a week where we just went ourselves, and I think we'll end up doing more of that, where we just go for one wedding, and people think, God, that's insane. You're going up for like 2 days and then coming back. But as a parent, you would know, Josh, it is kind of like a holiday. Like I'm literally sitting on the plane. People are doing shit for you. They're cooking for you. Your food is
100%.
there. And, you're just watching TV the whole time. Sorry, that's just Jamie walking past.
Right.
I'm like, you got to stay outside, Jamie. He's like mowing all the lawns, all the lawns. We've got one lawn. But yeah, I feel like it's actually quite relaxing, and you like can dream. You're just by yourself in this space.
Yeah.
Like, you can gather your thoughts.
15 hours from Melbourne to Qatar is one of my favorite flights. like you just said, you sit there, you do nothing. No one asks anything of
Yeah.
you. You
No.
can't do any work. You can't do any emails. No one can nag you.
Yes.
People feed you
Yep.
food. There's TV and movies. You can have a nap if you can. I mean,
That's right.
I'm happy
That's
to
right.
fly economy. I'm happy there.
Exactly. I think any parent would agree with this. Anyone who has no children is like, "What? Europe for 2 days? That's insane." And
Yeah.
anyone with the kids like, "Put me on the plane."
Yeah, I almost did one of those trips in September, just gone, and
Right.
our little boy Jack was born just at the back end of November, and the couple came, and when I say overquoted them, I didn't overquote them. I just quoted them fee plus travel. But
Yeah.
sometimes you kind of like, I really want to do that. You'll take a bit of a hit. I didn't take a hit,
Yeah.
and they were
Right.
keen. But then I'm like, Brit was like kind of the back end of September starts edging towards when babies could
Yeah.
arrive, if maybe even things go
Yes.
wrong, and I didn't do it. But part of me thought, oh, just to go and spend 4 or 5 days alone would be a real treat.
Yeah, yeah. It's really tough, those decisions. Like I had a similar one when I was pregnant, flying in that last 3 months as well. And I looked it up
Yeah,
on, Google and whatever, and there's hardly ever any pregnant women give birth on planes, even late in their third trimester. So it's like, am I going to, tempt fate? And, yeah, we decided not to fly so close to the end, but yeah, it's a hard decision to make, especially, yeah, leaving your partner. You could technically
yeah,
go and you'd be okay. But then if something did happen, God forbid, you're like, I'm bloody, 24 hours away. It'd be
yeah. Well,
terrible.
I mentioned I had the wedding in New Zealand. I flew back from New Zealand on our due date, and that
Oh my
week was
gosh.
yeah, that was it was not stressful. It was just on tender hooks the whole time, and every
Right.
time I'd get a phone call from Britain, like, hopefully this isn't the phone call. Like, please don't be the phone call.
Yeah.
But it all worked out fine. I haven't told the story anywhere, so I'll tell it here.
Yay.
On Saturday the 29th of November, I had a wedding in Melbourne, so I flew to Melbourne for the day. Like, it was a real fly and fly out. I kind of got off the plane at like 12 o'clock. Called an Uber to the ceremony, did the ceremony, kissed and hugged everyone. Called an Uber back to the airport, got on the plane, and got off the plane at like 5:15. And there's a text message from Britt saying, "Hey, don't dilly dally, come home. I'm not feeling good. Got some pains." And so I get home, I look at her, I thought, oh, tonight might be the night. So I fill up the bath for us to give birth at home. Not the bath, the birthing pool. And
Breathing pool.
and they take a long time to blow up. Like, you got to inflate it, and then you've got to fill it with hot water. So it takes
Yeah.
forever. And so this is probably about 6:30. I start that. And 45 minutes later, at 7:11, she messages the midwife saying, "I think tonight's the night." She jumps in the pool. The pool's still filling up, and she starts laboring. The midwife arrives, and at 7:47, she gives birth. She labored for
My
yeah, less than 45 minutes.
Wow,
And
that's
Jack was born
terrific.
before the sunset. It was great. And I got home from the airport fine. Everything was perfect.
How beautiful. Oh my
Yeah.
God. That sounds so nice. I love home birth stories. They're really lovely. And were your kids there as well or no?
Yeah. 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 They were keen. They were loving it.
That's so nice. Oh my gosh, that's so beautiful. Yeah,
Yeah.
and you're making me want to have a third child because I think it would be so nice to have your kids involved in that. I was at a wedding as well when I went into labor with my second child, and we drove to the hospital. I was feeling really good. I could tell the contractions were coming on quicker. I was like, they were 2 minutes apart or something, and went to the
Yeah.
hospital,
Yeah.
but they just then completely stopped. Even though I was completely relaxed, I was happy to be there because it was Jamie's sister's hospital. She was a midwife, so she knew all the staff, and she was texting them, and I was like, oh, this is great. Like, I have a little connection with these people. And then it just stopped, just completely stopped. And she's like, well, you could go home because we'll have to rupture your waters or something if you stay here. So I was like, I don't really want that. I'll go home. We go home. And then I took something. I'm a bit of a self-experimenter. So I took something called the midwife's brew. I don't know if you've ever heard of that, but it's
I
like
thought you were going to say castor oil, but it's not castor oil, is it?
it is. It's like a tiny bit
Is
of castor oil with pineapple juice and like some other things.
I think
Anyway, so
everything. It sounds like everything else is just to make the castor oil taste less horrible,
yeah,
right?
it's basically the castor oil, but you got to have the tea. If anyone's going to look it up, you have to have the tea because the tea activates something. Anyway, just whatever, just use the tea as well. Anyway, I drank it, and then just like with my other child, it it started coming on straight away. Contractions started happening. And I was like, we've got to get in the car. We get to the car and I was like, nope. We can't go to the car. We're going to go back to that. And at this point, we were living in a hut, which was like a handmade mud brick house while we built this house that we're currently in. But it was really rugged and cute, like cottage thing. But like, yeah. And so we're in there and I gave birth like 45, not even 45, like 5 minutes later because I had been laboring then for like 3 hours or whatever. And then, it just went like bang. I think after child number 1, things just happened so much faster. Was your wife's first birth quite long?
Yeah, it was about 4 to 5 years. Her first labour. We saw multiple prime ministers through her labour. Yeah, it was. And then the second was like just like an hour and a half, hour 45, something like that.
Yeah.
So I don't know if we can have more kids because it just might be
2 seconds. Oh, here we are. We're pregnant now. It's happened.
It's funny you mentioned going to the hospital and the mood changes and your maybe stress or just your I don't know if mental state or emotional state's the right way to describe it. I'm oversimplifying, but through all of our pregnancies and births, because I work in the wedding space as you do. This is a wedding podcast apparently. I can't help but spend the whole time
we'll get to that.
kind of correlating the vibes of pregnancy and giving birth, and there's like so many kind of connections to getting married. Like it's not the same procedure, but just even vibes. Like, gosh, this would be a good segue to talk about weddings. I feel like a lot of people don't spend enough time thinking about and talking about the vibe of their wedding, which is a real generalized term, but just like how it feels.
Yes, and how it feels.
Yeah, like we spend so much time
Josh,
on how it looks. Which is important because how things look affect how they feel.
Exactly.
And so not to dismay how it looks. And also we spend a lot of time on budgets. Like my favorite thing, I commented for the first time the other day in a Facebook group, someone said, looking for a budget photographer. I said, hey, do you know every photographer is a budget photographer? It's just what changes is your budget because everyone has a different budget. Like every photographer is in someone's budget. But money is important. Like we don't have endless money. So how much you have to spend is a thing. But I feel that those two are kind of legs on the table that is vibe. And I don't know, like
I love that, Josh.
The vibe hasn't been there.
I love those thoughts. That is, perfectly put. Like people do think about all the aesthetic things that need to obviously go into a wedding. But there's one chat that I have with every bride before she walks down the aisle. And that is like, just stop for a moment before you walk down, take a few deep breaths and use the music. If you like what we do, which I hope you do because you've hired us, if you use us to connect with the moment and the present time. Because when I was getting married, I had my best friend singing me down the aisle and she's amazing, got the most beautiful voice, and I cannot remember a single part of it because I was just bolting down the aisle. I just bolted down the aisle. And that's not because I was obsessed with aesthetics or anything, because I really had a really kind of cheap backyard wedding. But what I didn't take time to do was just soak it in and just go, okay, what do I want to feel on my wedding day? I want to feel the love and I want to feel the joy and connected to all the people here. Like, so I always have that chat, just use the music, connect to it. Doesn't matter how long you take. If you take the whole song to walk down, that's why you've got live musicians. We can play it 3 times. Like, it doesn't matter to me. It's not really going to matter to the guests. Yep. All that matters is that you feel good and you feel centered and like grounded and like, I'm ready to walk down the aisle,
Yeah.
That's what matters. And it's really hard to get that across because I can see even if I've had that conversation, there's still brides that just like power down the aisle and I can see it in their face. They're just all up in their head and they can't get out. They can't like just relax and let the day take them because there's so much pressure. It's so full of pressure and anxiety and the money that you spend. And it's like, yeah, we almost need to have a meditate. I'm thinking about putting together a meditation that you can sort of do for 5 minutes, pop your earpods in, even with your dad, just hugging your dad or whatever, just put it in and get in the zone, and then you start the day, because
Even
I
just
don't
some
want
breathing, yeah.
brights. Yeah, breathing, do some breathing techniques, like, God. But yeah, Josh, it's a beautiful way to put it. It's the same with birth. It's like, yeah, you kind of think, oh, I'm going to do this with my child, I'm going to do that. And you think about all the things, but how's it going to feel? Like, how is it going to feel, that labor? What's it going to feel like afterwards?
Yeah,
Like,
yeah.
yeah, yeah,
So
you've hit the nail
I
on the
wanted
head.
to have you on the podcast for a good reason, which I'm going to get to
Okay.
soon. But I wanted to start
Yep.
with something that I was thinking about as I was thinking about having you on.
Okay.
So I don't know if you know this, but I'm former breakfast radio. So I used to be on breakfast radio every day, and I was on the hit music station. So we were playing the hits, and the reason I took that career is because I used to listen to the radio, and I loved hearing the newest music, and
Yeah.
and then as I kind of got into radio, I kind of understood more the curation aspect of music and the music industry, and that we as a radio station would curate music and put
Yeah.
it on the air, and we sort of, hey, these are the hottest hits. Like, we've decided we are the hot hits curators,
Yeah. Yeah.
and over the last 10 to 20 years, that's really changed, and I'm really interested in and I don't know whether you've had to start experiencing this yet, but I feel if it hasn't happened already, it's on the cards. That wedding entertainment and wedding entertainers, that those groups will splinter more as the music industry is splintered. Because it used to be,
Yeah. Yeah.
if Beyonce released a new album, most of us liked the album. We all knew the album. We
Yep.
all know the songs.
Yep.
But today, like, you and I are listening to different new music. Stu Larson, a friend of mine, just released a new album this week. I'm sure that you and anyone else hearing this doesn't know who Stu Larson is, hasn't heard his new album, probably never
Yep.
will, and that's okay.
Yeah.
Like, that's how taste works. But as far as providing wedding entertainment, like, it's just such a wild space to be in. To think that the top 100 or the top 40 or whatever it might be just doesn't really exist anymore. And
Josh,
how do
I'm
you
loving
start
your
addressing that?
Gosh, you definitely are the right person to start a podcast. I tell you what. But I think that's a really great question. I think where to begin. Okay, firstly, we might have met because I was signed to Universal Records back in a long time ago, and I did the
Oh,
radio.
wow.
I did
Yeah.
the radio rounds. I remember I was like friends with Dave Higgins still. I don't know if you know him from Triple.
Yeah, yeah. Yep.
Anyway, but back to your question, which is the most important thing. Yes, we're so splintered, and it's not just like top 40 now. I was actually thinking about that when it comes to like bigger bands and what they play on the dance floor, because I was thinking I'm into Sabrina Carpenter at the moment, which is so not our vibes. But I'm thinking, oh, I'd love to hear this at a wedding, like, and just get down to Sabrina Carpenter. But then, like, how many people do? I mean, she's probably quite a big one. But yeah, I think when it comes to choosing wedding bands, it's good to look for people that do a variety of music. So you can know, okay, that person can do country, they can do jazz, they can do pop, they can do rock. Or if you like a specific genre, then target a band that just does that genre or love that genre and put out lots of music on that genre. For me personally, I love all the genres. I will sing a musical Disney song, and then I'll sing Mumford & Sons, and then Beyonce. And I love, because that's what I love and that's what I want to do. But yeah, it's a tough one. Yeah, it is a tough one because most bands, like, we will learn 2 to 3 songs per wedding. Otherwise, it just gets chaotic if someone says, like, can you learn everything on the Mumford & Sons catalog or everything on this and that? And artists they adore, it just gets too much. We can't spend every minute learning songs. So yeah, that's the thing. I would choose someone that already does, ask for their catalog. Choose someone that already does a lot of the songs that you love. Ask for their catalog and then look through their catalog of music, and you can see, okay, well, they already do like 30 songs that I love. And, then add in a few for those special moments that you want, and just make sure that they're on the right page. But for me personally, I haven't felt it. Like, I haven't felt like they're asking for a lot, or this is so out of our range, or this is really different. I have not, yeah. But also we do the ceremony and canapes mostly. We don't do receptions as much. So I wonder what asking somebody who does that
Yeah.
space, what the bangers,
It's probably more of a DJ thing as well, because
Yeah.
So I was watching a YouTube video over the weekend with a guy, because this is my YouTube algorithm is just talking nerdy song things, just nerd. I like to nerd about nerdy things, and there
That's
was a guy
great.
talking about why is Teenage Dirtbag such a popular song, and he was describing the chords. And I am not smart enough to retell everyone on the podcast, but I'm sure if you Google why is Teenage Dirtbag a popular song, you'll find the same tune. And he goes, it was such a popular song that my wife walked down the aisle to it at our wedding. And I'm like, when he said those words, as you're probably hearing, you're like the recorded version, and then they played. They're like, oh no, it was like an acoustic, feminine acoustic version of the song,
Awesome.
and I'm like, oh, that's probably where having a wedding muso or a duo comes into its strength. Is you can say you walked in there to Slipknot, but an acoustic version, like, oh, an acoustic version of Slipknot, that sounds lovely. Whereas, the recorded version, a little bit different,
Yeah, that's
So
right.
there
Like
is that
Simply
freedom
the
there.
Best is one of the ones we get the most requests for. I mean, you could have Tina Turner, you could have the Tina Turner. If you like it, you should do it. But
Yeah.
we strip it back into this nice, romantic, because the words in that song are actually amazing and really heartfelt. So it's like, and 500 Miles, we do that with 500 Miles as well. It's like,
Yeah.
classic, great with grooms, love that song. So it's like, it's great to have an acoustic duo do those types of
Yeah, no, that's interesting talk. All right, let's get controversial. And it is pivoting a little bit off the back of talking about how weddings feel, because I've been a marriage celebrant for, I must be 16 years now, I think 17 in May actually. And definitely something that I've seen and something that I've encouraged, something I've pushed for. And if I've seen an opportunity to pull a lever that would encourage more of this, I've done that. Is weddings have become more and more and more about being married and not getting married. And
thought.
there's more and more reality. I was trying to think of the best way to describe it when I was preparing for the podcast. I feel like weddings of old were a little bit of a role play, kind of like a dress up. Like we're dressing up as fancy people, we're role playing as fancy people, and the capturing of a wedding lent into that. That like you wouldn't normally get photos of yourself this good. But on your wedding day, you'll dress up, you'll look beautiful, you'll feel amazing, you'll have all the fancy things, and the photographer and the videographer will capture that in a beautiful, cinematic, fine art, lovely, beautiful way. And I like that kind of photography. I like those photos of me. But the world has shifted a little bit, a lot maybe, and now we are leaning more into the reality of a wedding day, the fact we're getting married to be married, our and I guess it's in a world where we have great cameras. I've got great cameras behind me. I love making good photos. We have AI generated video and photos. In that world where we can make these perfect, beautiful things, the capturing of a wedding has shifted a little bit to, and this is where content creators have really found their niche, to just capturing the reality of it, just like not making it beautiful, but just what is there is beautiful. The fact you've invited these people, the fact you've got these people, the fact you've got this music, you've got this celebrant, etc. In this place, we've decided this is beautiful, and we're capturing it like this. Which I feel has brought us to a place where you and I have experienced that you look at the wedding photos and video and you're like, you wouldn't know that Josh Withers was the celebrant there. You wouldn't know that Tobi Tobi was playing music. You just wouldn't know. And you and I have, in private conversation, discussed how that it matters to me. I'll speak for me. I'll let you speak for you in a second. That it matters to me because I'm not just doing another ceremony. Like part of the reason I became a celebrant was because I saw a celebrant doing just another ceremony, and I thought that sucked. And I wanted to not just celebrate marriage in an idealistic global way, but celebrate this person's marriage, and they're coming together, and that's important. We love that. So I put heart and effort into it, put work into it, and I consider it to be the best part of the wedding. And not that I need to be captured for my glory, or I need to be photographed or videoed so that everyone knows how great I am. Because I don't think one photo in the photo album is going to do that. And I don't think 5 seconds shot in a video is going to do that. But that's all part of the story. That is that these two got married, and Josh Withers made their ceremony. Well, not even Josh Withers, that guy who maybe isn't even named, made their ceremony, and the
Yeah.
ceremony was good and important.
Yeah.
And true for every other element of the day as well. That if they've got my friends at Wheel and Spoon, if they're serving ice creams, that's a deliberate choice the couple made to pay whatever they paid for that, and to have these ice cream flavors. Dan and I were from Wheel and Spoon were talking, and he's choosing, like, they're choosing these certain flavors for these certain times, and it's every element of the wedding is so intimately chosen. And then you
Personal.
see the photos of personal, and then you see the kind of capturing back, and you're like, oh, you wouldn't know we were there. And I just think it's dishonest to the truth of the wedding.
Josh, perfectly put. I actually think you've just nailed it, because it's a delicate conversation to have, because we honestly owe a lot of our success in this industry to amazing photographers and amazing videographers. There are some beautiful people in this industry, and you know that it's working with some of the nicest people around. But there's a lot of people that honestly, either, I don't know what it is, or whether they're focused on aesthetics now so much that if you don't like how we look, or I don't know what it is, but I just wholeheartedly agree with everything you've said. The couple have chosen and spent time and effort in choosing these list of vendors, and where celebrants and musicians are there on the day celebrating with the couple and for the couple, and that should be reflected in videos and photos. And like you said, getting a shot or a split second of video is not going to do anything for us promotion wise. Like, it's not like we're going to blow up, or like, you know, but it makes me sad for the couple. Like, I loved our celebrant, Josh. He was sort of your vein. He was hilarious and just really engaging and real and funny. And we went to a lot of effort into choosing him and making sure he was right for us. And I've got this beautiful photo of him, you know, with the mic in this like engaging the audience position. And I remember that photo. It's in my photo album because I value him, and the photographer obviously appreciated that as well. And that is a part of my memory. And unfortunately, my memory is shocking. You know, it is so bad. I can't remember anything. Literally a week later, I will forget. And, you know, having his image in our wedding book, I know I'll never forget him. You know, like, I'll be reminded of him and reminded of how funny he was every time I look at that photo. And yeah, I think it's a no-brainer to me. It's almost frustrating that this conversation has to happen. Why do we have to be reminded? Why do we have to remind photographers and videographers to take photos of things that are important? Like, I don't have to ask people, is music important? I know music is important, and I know celebrants are important. So why don't they know that it's important? Like, I'll tell you a hilarious story, and this goes back to my memory and how quickly I forget. But we worked with this videographer a little while ago, and I talked to the bride for ages about the exact timing of a song she wanted to come down the aisle to, and how she wanted it to sound. She wanted it a cappella in certain moments, and we sort of orchestrated this aisle moment. Anyway, this videographer took a little snippet of me strumming the guitar, not any part of me or any part of our duo. It could have been anyone on, you know, just strumming away. Then used our audio in the video, and then didn't tag us in the caption. Like, so they've used our audio. They have put my hand in, which is something, but it's almost better not to be in it at all, to be honest. That's what I would say. But yeah, and then I was working with this same videographer recently, and whenever I can, I've been reaching out to videographers, just being like, you know, we love to be part of the video in any way, like just a snippet, just, you know, passing by, just, you know, just so the couple can remember who we are and what we've done and how we played a part in their day. And I said to this videographer, you know, videographers these days, they're just taking snippets of our hands, and it was the same guy who done our other one. And he just kind of looked at me funny, and then we talked about it later, and I was like, oh shit, that's the same guy. Like, I've really just put my foot in it. But I hate it. Like, I hate being reduced to, all these years, 20 years I've been rehearsing and playing and practicing, and I'm reduced to my that, you know? I hate it.
And if I could add some context to it, because I feel that maybe, like, I've been doing this a long time, and I know a lot of people that have been doing it a long time, and and, and I am probably guilty of missing this important fact, which happened through COVID. And I don't. This isn't going to be the COVID cast, just FYI, but there was a cultural change through COVID, which is really important for us to recognize in the wedding industry. That much like with many other big cultural events that occurred, like, for example, when 9/11 occurred, it became okay to put the lower thirds on TV and have the rolling news ticker going through. That is a result of 9/11, that CNN and MSNBC and all those channels couldn't convey enough information at once. So not only would there be people talking on the TV, but there'd also be a rolling ticker at the bottom with other news.
Yeah.
So there's these things that happen through big cultural events, and we're left with the remnants, and society's better or worse for it. But something that happened in the wedding industry that maybe many of us haven't really picked up on is that everyone getting married has permission now to have whatever size wedding they want. Because for periods there, we were forced to elope or forced to have micro weddings. And the result of that is now, when you turn up to a wedding this weekend, and that wedding is what it is, if it's 0 guests, if it's 2 guests, if it's 20, if it's 200, if it's 2,000, in most cases, people have actively made that decision. Like, they wanted
Yeah.
that,
Yeah.
which is not the truth pre-COVID. I don't know if you've ever had something this extreme, but I remember consoling a bride who was crying because she didn't want to have the wedding. She wanted to get married, but she didn't want to have the event she was about to walk into. And like I said, as a good celebrant should be, look, you don't have to do any of this. Like, if there's consent issues around your marriage, like, that's a concern for me. But also, as a friend, let me tell you, none of this has to happen. But also, you have kind of paid for it. And I didn't say that, but yeah, and I consoled her, and she got through it, and she walked down the aisle. It was a great day. But she didn't want to have a wedding. But COVID now gave us the permission to have the wedding we were having. So when someone's invited their 200 guests, they are with intention, with purpose. And if they're not, that's that person's loss, because they had permission. And if they didn't take the permission, that's their fault. So it used to be, you'd go to a wedding and the guests would be like, oh, these guests are bloody guests. Oh, I hate guests. There's all these guests here. Family photos. Oh gosh, I hate family photos. I'm like, cool. Now when you turn to a wedding, those people were invited. They're intended to be there. They're wanted. They have valued people in that couple's life, as are
Mhm.
the vendors.
Mhm.
And so I would hope that would encourage us to capture everything in a new light. Like, you might hate family photos. In that case, don't be a wedding photographer. Like, go and photograph other things.
Yeah.
And that applies for all of us. Like me as a celebrant, like, I've been guilty in the past of being like, oh, guests, like, getting in the way of me having a good time with this couple. But like, I've had to realize, like, like, this is a communal exercise here. We're all doing it together. And I just think that's a really important thing for us to realize, because um I shared a story with you of an elopement I did once, where I picked a photographer and videographer up. We all went to the wedding together. It was an elopement, sorry. We went to the elopement together, and we're all friends. Like, I know these guys. I love them. Like, we're friends. We have each other's phone numbers, and we text each other every now and then. And they I saw the gallery and the video afterwards, and you wouldn't have known there was a celebrant. I'm like, there was 2 people present, the couple, plus the video photo and me. And so not only was I absent, but the video and photo was absent. And I'm not saying every photo needs to have a videographer in it, but there's just a dishonest part to it. And I'm not suggesting that photographers, like, gosh, as I've said these words, I'm like, God, I'm gonna get the fury of photographers on my bloody Instagram as we share this, which I don't mind. But I don't think it's evil or it's bad. I just think culturally the world has changed, and weddings are happening with intention now. And I
Yeah.
hope the capturing of them would include that intention.
Yeah. Yeah. Perfectly put. I can't. Yeah. It's crazy that, but it just goes to show Yeah, I don't think it's I honestly don't think it's intentional. Do you think sometimes that we're viewed as behind the scenes? Because I put up
The
a
help.
post recently. Yeah, I put up a post, and I probably shouldn't have done this, where I singled out a particular vendor for not including us, because this couple had flown us across the world to play at her wedding. We played 3 hours over dinner. We played canapes. We were there for a long time. Afterwards, the bride, was gushing to me. You're one of my favorite parts of this wedding. Like, we chose you almost first. And, okay, so that's the importance of what we thought. We had like this stage. We were like in the middle of this thing, this gorgeous place. I'd put a lot of effort into my attire, as I always try and do, because I do keep in mind that idea that, okay, if there's a photo or a video, then I want to, match everything, or at least be classy and be, you know, okay. So, then we get left out of this video, that this, 2.5 minute video. And I singled out this vendor, and I probably shouldn't have, because it happens so much that I think I just got to the point where I was fed up, like just a bit like I'm just fed up with this, especially, and I want to make a post about this, especially because the cutlery attraction than the musicians. And it's like, it seems to be, I hope it doesn't sound sarcastic, because it's not meant to. It's meant to highlight the fact that there's more importance being placed on the aesthetic, is what
Yeah.
you was talking about before, on the aesthetic of the cutlery and the plates, over how I made that couple feel. And I don't care. I don't care that if there's not a 2-second spot of me, and I'm not going to use that video. I'll put it up on my story and say beautiful video. Like, that's what I'd do, but it's not going to get me anything. This videographer didn't tag us or anything in it. So it's not for me. It's the fact that this couple now, whenever they watch that video, we're not there. We're not
Yeah.
there. And it was so important. She said we were a highlight. So it's like, yeah, it's like getting back to the feeling and what matters. And I don't care if you've got, if we look fugly, if you think we're horrible looking, or like, we're wearing some funky shit, it doesn't matter. The couple chose us to be
Yeah.
there. So I don't care if my hair's purple and I'm wearing I don't know, a bandana. Like, I'm there because they want me there. And so you should reflect what that couple want. And we should say, do you think, Josh, that 90% of photographers and videographers are doing this? Would you say it's like that 10% that is just not caring? Or would you think it's more? There's more.
Yeah, look, I tend to hang out with pretty cool photographers that are very, I guess, aware of their situation and their position in the world. So it's probably more something I see through social media and whatnot. I think it's, I'm going to say it's a symptom of the post. It's a symptom of wedding magazines not being a thing anymore. But that's how everyone shoots. We shoot to get in Vogue or get in Hello May, or whatever it might be. And those magazines kind of had a shot list you'd need to do to get in there, which included the
Yeah.
cutlery and not the vendors. But gosh, particularly Celebrant. I went to war with the wedding magazines back in 2013 over the fact like that. Just on one day in May, I picked up all the wedding magazines you could find in the local newsagent, and none of them included the word celebrant or ceremony. There was not a celebrant shown. There was no talk of vows or ceremony or getting married. And yeah, I since that day, most of them haven't really liked me, which is fine. I've got enough friends, but there's a different world that exists now where it's not the same anymore. And so the old getting a feature in the magazine isn't the creme de la creme that it was.
Mm.
It's nice that you got the word Vogue in your bio, but I think people are looking for reality and connection. And I suppose I do want to pull this around to photographers and videographers that they would know that their personality, who they are, that's actually part of their product now. And
Mm.
so it's not just that there's not a photo of the celebrant, but there's not a photo of you. And the couple hired you for you to hang out with you all day, for you not just to make photos. Like your JPEGs aren't your product, but you are your product. Same with the videographer. And the successful videographers are the good people that people want to hang out with. And
Yeah.
so I think it's a crime, not just that you and I, Renee, aren't in the video, but the photographer's not,
Yeah.
because we are all part of that creative team that make the wedding happen. Wedding
Yeah.
planner,
Yeah. Yeah.
way down to all of them. Like, there's it's just 1990. It's not 1994 anymore. Like, people are making these very beautiful weddings that have all of us as this creative effort, and I hope that's where we can get to. And I hope anyone
Yeah.
that is currently hating us would listen that far.
Ah,
Just you can now stop listening. I've said what.
such a delicate, it's a delicate thing in how to say it right. I think I listened to Brene Brown a while ago, and she said to come at it from how you feel. Whenever you have a problem, come at it from how you feel. And every time I see a video when we're not in it, it feels a bit like I'm worthless. Like I didn't really play a part in this. That doesn't feel good. If I'm just, yeah, flashed across the screen, like I've got a video up for anyone who's I don't know when this is going to come out, Josh, but I've got a video
Probably in a
up
few days.
by,
I've got nothing on.
okay, awesome. And it's like my third post, and it's a perfect example of, just, what I'm talking about here, just having, that split second of, us and the celebrants in and everything. It's by Annette and Danny, and we work with them heaps in Melbourne, and they're beautiful. Their work is beautiful. But yeah, it's just like little split second of everything that matters. Like the flowers matter, the cufflinks matter, the shoes that the bride's wearing and the perfume. Everything seems to get captured, but I don't know why. Yeah, musicians and celebrants, we're definitely in the same basket, because after I did put that post up, so many celebrants hit me up, just like, this is the story of my life. Like, there's 800 photos of the ceremony, and somehow the shoes are in and the veil is in, and like all these intricate, tiny things, but I'm not there. Like, and I ran the ceremony. Like, I was the
And it's
one.
just weird. It's just weird.
It
Is what it
is.
is.
It is. It's weird. I don't
Like,
know.
it'd be like if I
Anyway.
released this podcast and I cut all of you out, and you
Yeah.
see me play this back, and it's just me talking,
Yeah,
and you're
yeah,
like, where was the other person?
yeah.
I
Anyway,
might do that
we
just for a
love
gag. That'll be.
we love our video and photographer friends. We're not
Yeah.
against you. We are for you. I cannot believe how lucky I have. The friends in the industry, photography and video friends, are amazing. But yeah, this is to all the people who don't appreciate. I do actually point out to photographers this stuff sometimes, like in a polite way. Like, oh, hey, I looked at the gallery and there wasn't a photo of us, and, just letting you know for the future, like, if you can capture music, most of the time it's important to couples. And I do mention the cutlery thing, like, if you'll notice, there's like 100 shots of the forks, but like there doesn't seem to be any of us. And he's like, and yeah, most people will be like, oh my God, yeah, like, why the hell didn't I take a photo of the vibe creators or the people creating the energy? Because music does
Yeah.
so much on the day, and your words, what you say at a ceremony, means so much. If you're a good celebrant, they mean so much, and they set the tone for the rest of the day. And you can't capture that tone exactly. You can't capture it. It's happy. It's all in somebody's mood and their happiness and their feeling, but they can just capture you, and, and then have that remembered by the couple. I think,
I'm going to take this.
basic.
You said something that I think is really important that I'm going to take into the back end of the podcast to change topic a little bit, but stay exactly where we were. Music is important. Like when something really important is happening in a movie, there's a music. There's a music bed, whether it's orchestral or whether it's a song or a cover of a song. like if you look at the soundtrack of a movie, it underpins the entire narrative of the movie. And this is
Mhm.
how old I am. I still have movie soundtrack CDs or albums that I love listening to. Like I actually one of my straight up favorite movie soundtracks is the Scream 2 soundtrack. I don't know if you
It's
remember that one.
awesome.
It was a good. It was like Scream. The Scream soundtrack was good. Scream 2 soundtrack was really good.
Wow.
And then
Okay. I'm going to check that out. That's great.
the Wedding Singer soundtrack was really good. And there's so many
Yeah.
others. Anyway,
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
the soundtrack of your wedding can be really awesome as well.
Yeah.
And I wanted to come around to, and I'm going to share my version. So I'll give you a second to think about it. But just what song, or if you need to say songs, we're going to max it out of three. But
Oh, three.
songs that have really kind of good at like a wedding for you. And so I'm going to share mine, and because I've just been thinking about it this whole time.
Oh,
I
God.
did a
Okay.
wedding at Waldara Estate, which is kind of out the back of the Blue Mountains in the middle of nowhere. Awesome estate there. Dana Day was photographing. Actually, he's a good lad, and so it was a really cool day. And and I've just forgotten the DJ that was playing, but it was one of those like a known like really epic DJ. I think he does vinyls, like a really cool guy. Can't remember his name. I'm sorry to him that I can't credit you in that advice. But the bride walked down the aisle to In Excess's "Never Tear Us Apart," which I think did that recently just win. Was that number
Number
one on
one.
Hottest 100
Yeah. Triple
of
J.
Australian songs? Yeah, yeah. So important note because there's I think the music video version is what they used, or maybe it was an original album version, but the current album version has a bit of an orchestral bit at the start, which actually takes away from it, in my opinion. So the version they played was just, it was a little more simpler. And it was really loud. It was an open space. And I think they might have looped the beginning a little bit to get the bridesmaids down the aisle. Um, and it was this hallowed space. And she kind of the bride held back a little bit to walk down the aisle to the right parts of the song, and it was such a if you ever get the chance to sit in an open field with a big PA system. I'm talking a big PA system, like I'm talking a Bose L1 or something.
Right.
Yeah, no, not a Bose S1. Like we need a big one, uh, and here, Never Tear Us Apart. It's this magical song that kind of just situated the whole ceremony. And because I'm ex radio, I kind of spoke in the bits in between. Like there's the bit in the song where it goes dun 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 dun, and there's like a pregnant pause. I said, "Please make the bride feel welcome." And everyone turned, and then the song starts. Don't ask me. So it was just really cool. It was just a good song to walk down the aisle to. And I've got one
That
more.
sounds so nice.
Betty Boo. What's her song? I've just forgotten the Betty Boo song. Anyway, I can't remember the song. But yeah, it's on the tip of my tongue, and I was trying to come up with two because I'm
God.
kind of thinking I'm going to think you're probably going to
Betty
max out of
Boo.
three.
What's the
So I'm
song?
actually just going to I'm going to marriedbyjosh.com/wedding songs because I got my wedding song shoes in there and try and do it in the Betty. I love you always forever. I love you always forever. Yeah,
Yes. Terrific. Yeah.
yeah. So that
Great
was
song.
another really good song. Her cover of that song is really good. Anyway, over to you. Songs that have just really like been monumental in creating a vibe for the ceremony.
Dangity. I mean, I love any choice that really resonates with a couple, and you can tell like the groom is like, I just like, I love this song and I'm going to get married. And like, there's
Yeah.
joy. I recently had a beautiful couple that chose a Bon Iver track or Bon Iver, however you want to say it. And that was, I think it was Flume, or that was really lovely. I mean, you can never go past, and it's so weird. I could play Can't Help Falling in Love every
Yeah.
day, and I reckon I would never tire of it because it's just a classic. The words are classic. The melody's classic. Everybody gets into it. I really recommend getting live musicians if you do want Can't Help Falling in Love, because everybody's heard every rendition out there of Can't Help Falling in Love. So that would be a unique rendition for you, Can't Help Falling in Love. I love Simply the Best. And I love 500 Miles, and I love Dreams by the Cranberries.
Yeah,
Classic,
yeah, good one.
classic, and you can slow it down a little bit. And you could also use it bookend the ceremony. You could have it really chilled for the beginning and then, rev it up for the end. And then you've
Love
got
it.
a nice bookend. Yeah. I think, yeah, that'd be
It's
my
been
three faves.
it's a good list. I like that. I'm going to add them to my wedding songs database.
Okay.
Hey, give everyone the shout out on how they can find you guys online, website, and social.
Yeah, on social, we're under Tobi Tobi, or I think if you go www.tobitobi.co, that's our website, and it's Tobi with an I, not Toby with a Y.
I told Britt that I was talking to you, and she's like, "What do you mean she?" I'm like, well, "It's a brand, Tobi Tobi."
I know, yeah, my husband, yeah, he's not really into I'm more the chatty one. He's like, he wants to go garden or cook or do something else. But yeah, that's fine because then I can do all the talking, which is what I like to do more than him. But yeah, you've been great, Josh. You really have a really beautiful insight, and the way you think about weddings is beautiful. And it's nice to chat to somebody who I just love weddings. I love being a part of them, and I can tell you feel it. You feel it on the inside.
Thank you so much. It's been an honor having you on the podcast.
Thanks, Josh.